You guys seeing this? My 2022 GASGAS MC350F is back from the dead and probably better than ever. Now, for those of you who have been following the channel for a little while, you guys know that this thing is my pride and joy. I even said that this was my dream bike back when I purchased the 2024 Kawasaki KX450 and introduced that bike to you guys on my channel. And the reason why I bought that KX450 is because this thing blew up on me. Now, this blow up had nothing to do with the actual bike itself. It was completely self-inflicted, and it was a very expensive and hard lesson to learn. But after 7 months without having this bike or even riding this bike, I finally have it back and I'm able to show it to you guys. I kept this thing for under the hood for a little while just because I didn't quite know what I was gonna do with it. There was a period of time where I was gonna sell this thing just because I needed the money when I bought that KX450, but I found a way to keep both for the meantime and get this thing back up and going. Now, I have one ride after the major overhaul on this bike at a private motocross track called Cheney Ranch. If you've ever been to Cheney, you guys know what I'm talking about. That place is an absolute dream. And honestly, it really made my day going out there, getting to spend the entire day with friends, family, being around other people that just are true diehard motocross enthusiasts and riding personally my favorite bike on my favorite track. Couldn't have been any better, but I didn't really film that for you guys because it was more of a break-in rather than a first actual ride on this bike again. So I'm gonna take this thing out to Fox Raceway tomorrow morning, really shake this thing down and hold her wide open for you guys. So that's enough flapping gums for now. I will see you guys at the track going wide open. right, we're back at the house after a great day of riding out at Fox Raceway. I had an absolute blast on this bike, but before I get into how the bike performed out on track, I want to do a brief build overview with you guys, just as a quick refresher. It's been a little while since I've gone over all the mods that I've done to this bike, so I want to go over the list of mods that I have done, so that way you guys can better relate to the feedback that I'm about to give you guys. Starting off with the power plant is bone stock. You may take note of the Hinson clutch cover here. That is just the cover. Everything inside of this motor is completely stock except for some small gaskets and stuff like that. Holding that bad boy into place are the FCP Racing engine mount kit. Now, these are not titanium. The actual engine hangers are made of an aircraft aluminum. That is a really high grade series aluminum, and they look really, really cool. Going back to the power department, you can see I have a full FMF exhaust system. This is the 4.1 RCT titanium exhaust system. Looks really cool. I think the red and the blue really have a nice contrast against each other. On the other side of this bike, I have a vented airbox cover from Decal Works, no backfire screen in the air filter cage with a twin air filter. Moving on to the suspension, I have the stock WP AER 48 air fork configuration. However, it has been revalved to the JBI Motocross spec. Same thing is done out back. The componentry is stock outside of that valve setting, along with the JBI bladder system. For the wheels, I got the entry price point W Edge wheel set. These things look really cool. I only have a few rides on this wheel set, as when I refreshed the bike, I went ahead and purchased myself a new wheel set. These things so far have been holding up great and they look awesome. Kind of jumping around a little bit here, we're gonna rattle through the rest of the mods here. I have the GASGAS Power Parts triple clamps. Holding those in place are the JBI titanium bolts. You can see those on the triple clamps and on the fork lugs. Great caliber bolts as well. Fastway foot pegs, these are super cool because they are adjustable. So they have different camber settings. Right now, there's in the flat camber settings. They also have replaceable pins on the foot pegs as well. Next up, I have a G2 throttle conversion kit. This takes it from a 2 cable system to a 1 cable system. It also has a shorter throw on the throttle, so it is a little bit easier to go wide open. Smaller things include a primary drive chain and sprocket kit, ODI no waffle, glue-on grips, Bridgestone X31 tires. These are my favorite tire, not only from Bridgestone, but just in the motocross segment altogether. A CRF 450R brake pedal spring. These brake pedal springs are a must-have if you are a KTM owner. The KTM rear brake pedal spring just isn't really the best. I've snapped about 3 of them throughout the lifetime of this bike. I can't stand them, so I just go ahead and replace it with a CRF brake pedal spring. Now, last but not least, I cannot forget to mention the custom graphics kit and seat cover that I designed myself. It is a 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, My Chemical Romance collaboration inspired theme kit. I'm really stoked on how this kit came out. It looks super cool, and the whole theme of the album really ties into the color combo of this bike. Now, to finish it off, what did I feel out on track? Well, again, it was kind of like putting on an old pair of shoes. Hopping on this bike and really opening up the throttle a little bit made me realize how much the 350 suits not only my riding style, but my body type as well. As you can see, I'm 5'7", about 150 to 155 pounds, so I'm not the biggest guy in the world. This 350 power plant suits me perfectly. This thing will not only rev to the moon, especially with a Vortex ECU mapped by Jamie at Twisted Development, but in stock configuration, this bike, you can either short shift this bike, which you are down a little bit on power. So if you're going from second to third gear and some of those shorter straightaways, you can go ahead and shift it into third gear. You're just not gonna get the full potential out of this bike, but you can also leave in second gear and this thing will rev to the moon. Couple that together with a light feeling out on the track, the overall physical weight of this bike is quite a bit lower than the 2024 Kawasaki KX450, which really bodes well, not only with my physical stature, but my riding style. And when you go ahead and tip this thing into a corner, there is not that extra rotating mass and inertia that you get from a 450. This thing feels more like a 250 when you enter and exit those corners. Now, as far as the suspension performance, it feels overall really, really good. I know some people are just not a fan of the WP AER 48 air fork, but obviously it is revalved to the JBI Motocross spec. That does help out a lot with the vague front end feel that this AER 48 air fork can provide. One of the things that I do struggle with is on slapdown landings, the air fork just kind of feels a little bit cheap in my opinion. It has kind of a harsh character at times. Now, I do prefer a spring conversion kit such as the WP 6500 cartridge kit, but for me, the best bang of the buck is that AER 48 air fork revalved, because I can get front end feel and traction on or off throttle, whether you're on lean or off lean. Has great straight line stability. I know where that front wheel is at all times. wheels, has pretty good bottoming out resistance, and I can kind of customize the settings a little bit more with adding or decreasing air pressure in the fork. Overall, riding this bike, I have an absolute blast. Not only does it bring a lot of memories from when I first owned this bike, but overall, I feel like I could ride this bike faster than any other bike that I own, and at a safe and comfortable level. The comfortability level for me is off the absolute charts. I never feel like this thing's gonna rip my arms out or doing anything weird. Hence why I said it feels like putting on an old pair of shoes once again. So I'm super excited to have this bike not only back and up and running again, but to make more content with this bike, just because this bike got my start in content creation, not only on YouTube, but Instagram as well. I've been very fortunate and lucky enough to rack up a bunch of views, and not that content creating is about all of the views, but it's really cool to share my passion project with you guys. So that's gonna wrap it up for the video today. I'm running out of daylight here, but I really appreciate you guys watching and sticking around for the whole video if you did. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.